And then there were four in the College World Series, including NC State, Vanderbilt, Texas, and Mississippi State. Those are the four teams that round out the College World Series. But at the top of the show, we have a little bit of breaking news, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. I will give you all of the updates and everything about the College World Series and some other news and notes around the world of sports only on this edition of the Stingray Scoop. Welcome inside another exciting edition of the Stingray Scoop, everybody. I am your host, Stephen Ray, aka the one and only Stingray, and we actually have a little bit of breaking news off the top of the show. Let me go ahead and pop this up here. Now, as you can see right there, the number one game that is supposed to be happening today at 1 o'clock, that game was postponed or delayed until 2:20 this afternoon, and the reason behind that is because the North Carolina State Wolfpack have a couple of players that have tested positive for COVID-19. Okay, so NC State will be without 2 or 3 players for their baseball game in the College World Series versus Vanderbilt that starts at 2:20 this afternoon because of COVID-19 issues. And this is one of the first issues of COVID this season in college baseball. Now, there was a lot of COVID-related issues with college basketball, but this one is the first known for college baseball this season. Also, you can see tonight the Texas Longhorns take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs in the nightcap there in the College World Series of Omaha, Nebraska, getting ready and moving towards the championship game to crown a winner in college baseball. So that is the breaking news off the top of the show. NC State is dealing with COVID protocols and COVID issues because of players testing positive for COVID before their game with Vanderbilt today. Now, we have some other news as well. As you can see, LSU Tigers, they are set to hire Arizona Wildcat baseball coach Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson has gotten he is a 44-year-old. He is a wonderful head coach. He has actually gotten LSU to he's gotten Arizona to the College World Series 3 times in his tenure at Arizona. He's been there for 6 years. So look for the LSU Tigers to hire a great coach down on the bayou down there as Jay Johnson. So that is the issue there. LSU is very close to hiring Jay Johnson down on the bayou there for a little SEC baseball. Now, as you notice behind me, I've got the hog light for Arkansas up there, and the reason that I do is because Arkansas was ultimately the hottest team in the country going into the regionals and the super regionals. I will remind you that Arkansas won the SEC outright, and the SEC tournament in Birmingham this year. However, they were knocked out of the College World Series threat by the current team, NC State, who is dealing with COVID protocol. And I actually had Dory Noka of the SEC Network on my show, The Stingray Show, last Friday. Here is his take and his reaction to Arkansas losing and not making it to the College World Series after they entered and was the number one overall team all year long. Well, let's talk about the road to Omaha for a second. Dory, because you really pay attention to this, how shocked were you that the hottest team in baseball, the Hogs of Arkansas, did not make it to Omaha?
Shocked. I mean, as shocked as you could be. We were in here that night watching it at work, and it was like you just kept waiting for a big inning, and you just like, all right, it's a nice story, NC State, well done. You came back from 21-2, and you forced a game 3, and you just wait for that next Christian Franklin at bat.
Yes.
Nothing happens. You wait for that next Matt Goodhart at bat. Nothing happens. You wait for the next Robert Moore at bat. Nothing happens. Opportunity lost. And then you're like asking yourself, right, how much longer can Cops go? How much longer can Cops go? Are they going to get any runs for Cops? And then the ninth inning comes, and Jose Torres, who's hotter than a firecracker, sends one out of the yard, and you're thinking to yourself, is this actually going to happen? Like, the best team in baseball, essentially from day one, is not going to end up in the College World Series. We're all stunned. We're all stunned. But, man, it's the unpredictability of sports. Look, did injuries play a part? Sure. Like, they lose Peyton Pallette. One of their top tier three, weekend guys is gone. And now they're forced to pitch Cops. And then you start realizing, well, maybe they're not deep enough in the bullpen. Maybe that's a weakness of Arkansas we didn't know they had. Look, but every team goes through this stuff. Every team goes through injuries and depth questions and concerns, and they just didn't get through it. And, shocked. Like, and when it happened, I said, well, this College World Series just lost a lot of environment because what Razorback fans bring to Omaha is special, and they're not going to do it. And that's kind of a shame,
I did a little research myself, and I was a little shocked that, if I'm not mistaken, only one team in the last 20-something years, 21, 22 years, only one number one national seed has actually won it all, and it was Miami.
Yeah. And it was the first year they do national seeds in 1999. It's never happened since.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I was like, oh, this is kind of the kiss of death if you're the number one overall seed, It's so much pressure on you on that. Did you hear anything, Dari, as far as the pressure building up being that number one seed?
Not really. No, because they had a lineup that doesn't quit.
Right.
They still had two really good starters in Wicklander and Lockhart. Cops is obviously so versatile, and they can use him in any variety of situation, and he's great. And, oh, by the way, you're at Baumwalker, and you got 15,000 of or however many of your best, 12, 13,000, your best friends that are rowdy from the word go. And you're playing a team that, frankly, was middle of the road in the ACC that, they got hot at the right time, but did NC State really pose a threat? And then you dump them 21-2. I don't think there was really any. If they felt pressure, I wouldn't have sensed it. But man, that's a shock that they're not in Omaha. It really is.
It really is.
And another hot team going into Omaha, the Tennessee Volunteers, they went 0-2 and were knocked out just like that also in the College World Series. So now the SEC is down to two teams in the College World Series, and that is the Vanderbilt Commodores, anchored down, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Hail State. So those are the only two SEC teams left there in Omaha. And even though Tennessee got knocked out of the College World Series, also there is bad news yesterday up on Rocky Top. Another quarterback has been dismissed from the team up there in Knoxville because he got arrested. Now, if you will remember, when Josh Heupel was hired earlier this year, Jarrett Garantano and another quarterback transferred out of Tennessee. So Jarrett Garantano is no longer up at Rocky Top. Now, Tennessee did get two guys from the transfer portal to help them. One guy came from Virginia Tech, the other one came from Michigan. But if one of those or both of those guys do get injured this year, then the depth issue at quarterback is going to become a major issue for the Volunteers up there, as Caden Salter was dismissed following his arrest yesterday up in Knoxville. So things on Rocky Top are definitely a little bit rocky going into the summer workouts, and then of course surrounding media days at the middle of next month. Now, some good news. The Alabama men's basketball team will now host the defending national champs Baylor in Tuscaloosa on January the 29th of 2022. So that was a huge upgrade to the schedule for Alabama and Coach Nate Oates to actually get the defending national champs, the Baylor Bears, to come into Tuscaloosa to face the Crimson Tide on January the 29th of 2022. So that's going to be the SEC versus Big 12 challenge. So that is going to be a huge game and a great resume builder if Alabama can actually pull off that upset of Baylor next January. And one more final note, getting back to the College World Series. Last night, due to rain, the game did not start until 9:45. It went into the wee hours of the morning, but the Texas Longhorns eliminated the Virginia Cavaliers, and so now we will get round 2 of Mississippi State versus Texas up there in Omaha, and the first game went the way of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. However, tonight is the rematch to go to the championship game between Mississippi State and Texas. The winner of that game will face Vanderbilt or NC State, the winner of that game, coming up in the next few days. And finally, one more note. The guys here on the Bama Standard next Tuesday night will officially have one of their biggest guests so far on the show. It is going to be June the 29th, next Tuesday at 6 o'clock Central, 7 p.m. Central. The Bama Standard guys will have Josh Sneed, the creator and the star in SEC Shorts, the comical rant videos that you see all across social media. So that is going to be a huge guest for them. Make sure that you tune in to the Bama Standard next Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock Central, 7 Eastern, for Marvin Constant, Justin Riley, Stephen M. Smith, Steve Brown, and their special guest, Josh Sneed. So guys, that is going to do it for this edition of the Stingray Scoop. I hope that you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it. Once again, the College World Series is about to start with the first game of NC State and Vanderbilt. Then tonight at 6 o'clock, barring any weather issues, because there is a couple of thunderstorms out there, we could potentially see a delay later tonight. But Mississippi State does take on the Texas Longhorns right now at 6 o'clock. But that of course could be postponed or delayed due to weather issues later today. Guys, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I will see you right back here on the Stingray Scoop next Friday. Until then, have a great weekend, and as always, God bless.